The shuttle descended through the thick atmosphere of Nova Terra, its hull rattling against the turbulence. Inside, Captain Renata Silva stood at the front, her hands clasped behind her back as she surveyed the landscape unfolding beneath them. Lieutenant Asher Reynolds stood beside her, his gaze fixed on the viewport with a mixture of excitement and apprehension. As the shuttle touched down on the barren terrain, the doors hissed open, releasing a gust of cold, alien air. Captain Silva took a deep breath, her nostrils flaring at the unfamiliar scent. This was it, their new home. Stepping onto the rocky ground, Captain Silva's boots crunched against the gravelly surface. She glanced around, taking in the desolate landscape stretching out before them. Jagged mountains loomed in the distance, their peaks obscured by swirling clouds. The sky above was a murky shade of gray, with no sun visible through the thick layer of atmospheric haze. "Welcome to Nova Terra," Captain Silva announced, her voice carrying over the howling wind. "This is where we make our stand." Lieutenant Reynolds followed her lead, stepping out of the shuttle with a mixture of awe and trepidation. He had heard stories about the harsh conditions of their new home, but seeing it with his own eyes was another matter entirely. The rest of the settlers disembarked from the shuttle behind them, their faces a mix of excitement and uncertainty. They had left behind everything they knew: Earth, their families, their old way of life, to start anew on this distant planet. Captain Silva turned to address the group, her voice projecting strength and determination. "We've chosen Nova Terra because it offers us a chance to build something better, to forge a new future for humanity. But make no mistake, this will not be easy. We will face challenges unlike any we've encountered before, but together we will overcome them. Together we will thrive." The settlers nodded in silent agreement, their resolve hardening as they prepared to face the unknown. As the crew began unloading supplies from the shuttle, Captain Silva and Lieutenant Reynolds surveyed their surroundings, mapping out potential sites for their new settlement. They knew they had their work cut out for them, but they were determined to succeed. Hours passed as the settlers worked tirelessly to establish their new home, setting up temporary shelters and laying the groundwork for their future city. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the rocky landscape, Captain Silva called for a halt. "We've made good progress today," she announced, her voice echoing across the makeshift camp. "But we have a long road ahead of us. Rest up, everyone. Tomorrow, the real work begins." As the settlers settled down for the night, their thoughts turned to the challenges that lay ahead. But amidst the uncertainty, there was also a sense of hope, a belief that together they could overcome anything that Nova Terra threw their way. Tensions rise. In the days following their arrival on Nova Terra, the settlers found themselves confronted not only by the planet's hostile environment, but also by the harsh realities of survival in a new world. As they worked tirelessly to establish their foothold, tensions simmered beneath the surface, threatening to unravel the fragile fabric of their fledgling community. Captain Renata Silva stood atop a rocky outcrop overlooking the emerging city, her gaze sweeping over the landscape with a mixture of pride and concern. Below, the settlers bustled about, their movements purposeful as they erected shelters, laid down infrastructure, and fortified their defenses against the planet's unforgiving elements. Beside her, Lieutenant Asher Reynolds watched the activity with a furrowed brow. "The supplies are dwindling faster than expected, Captain," he remarked, his voice tinged with worry. "We need to find a sustainable source of food and water soon, or we'll be facing a crisis." Captain Silva nodded, her jaw set in determination. "I'll organize a scouting mission to survey the surrounding area," she replied. "We must explore every option if we are to ensure the survival of our people." As Captain Silva set about planning the expedition, whispers of discontent began to circulate among the settlers. Some questioned her decisions, citing the scarcity of resources and the growing threat posed by the planet's native inhabitants. Others voiced concerns about the division within their ranks, fearing it would weaken their ability to face the challenges ahead. Within the settlement, factions began to form, each advocating for a different approach to their predicament. The more militant members called for preemptive strikes against potential threats, arguing that aggression was the only language the planet's inhabitants understood. On the other hand, those inclined towards diplomacy urged caution, emphasizing the importance of building trust and forming alliances with the indigenous species. Lieutenant Reynolds found himself torn between these opposing ideologies, his loyalty to Captain Silva warring with his belief in the necessity of cooperation. He knew that the key to their survival lay in unity, but convincing others of that truth would be an uphill battle. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows over the settlement, Captain Silva addressed the gathered settlers, her voice ringing out clear and commanding. "We are facing unprecedented challenges," she declared, "but we cannot allow fear and discord to divide us. We must stand united if we are to overcome the trials that lie ahead." The settlers listened in silence, their faces drawn and weary from the day's labor. Deep down, they knew that their survival depended on their ability to set aside their differences and work towards a common goal. But as the night descended upon Nova Terra, casting the settlement into darkness, the path to unity seemed more uncertain than ever. Alien Encounter. As dawn broke over the rugged landscape of Nova Terra, Captain Renata Silva and a team of volunteers prepared to embark on a scouting mission beyond the confines of their settlement. Their objective: to explore the surrounding area in search of vital resources that would ensure their survival in this harsh new world. Among the volunteers was Lieutenant Asher Reynolds, his expression a mix of excitement and trepidation as he checked his equipment one last time. Beside him stood Chief Scientist Zaltor, the enigmatic Thalkan alien who had proven to be an invaluable ally in their efforts to understand Nova Terra and its native inhabitants. "Are you ready, Lieutenant?" Captain Silva asked, her voice cutting through the crisp morning air. Lieutenant Reynolds nodded, his resolve firm. "Ready as I'll ever be, Captain." With a silent nod, Captain Silva signaled for the team to move out, their boots crunching against the rocky terrain as they made their way towards the outskirts of the settlement. As they ventured further from the safety of their domed city, the landscape began to change, revealing new wonders and dangers alike. Strange flora, twisted and gnarled in the alien sunlight, their vibrant hues a stark contrast to the barren rocks that dominated the landscape. Suddenly, a rustling in the underbrush drew the team's attention, their hands instinctively reaching for their weapons. But instead of a threat, they were greeted by a group of alien creatures emerging from the foliage, a sight that left them momentarily stunned. The creatures were unlike anything they had ever seen. Tall, slender beings with iridescent scales and luminous eyes that seemed to pierce through the veil of uncertainty that hung over the scouting party. Chief Scientist Zaltor stepped forward, his voice calm and reassuring. "Greetings, friends," he called out in the melodic language of his people. "We come in peace." To the team's surprise, the creatures responded in kind, their voices a symphony of chirps and clicks that echoed through the clearing. Through gestures and simple words, they conveyed their curiosity and goodwill towards the human settlers, offering gifts of food and water as a token of friendship. Captain Silva exchanged a cautious glance with Lieutenant Reynolds, her mind racing with questions and possibilities. Could these creatures be the key to their survival on Nova Terra? Or were they merely another obstacle to overcome in their quest for dominance over this alien world? As the encounter drew to a close, the scouting party bid farewell to their newfound allies, their hearts filled with hope and uncertainty in equal measure. Only time would tell what the future held for humanity on Nova Terra, but one thing was certain: their journey had only just begun. The hidden threat. As the settlers returned to their domed city, the atmosphere was tense with anticipation. The encounter with the alien creatures had sparked both excitement and apprehension among the populace, stirring up debates and discussions about their newfound allies and the implications of their presence on Nova Terra. Captain Renata Silva convened a meeting in the central plaza, gathering the settlers to discuss their next course of action. Beside her stood Chief Scientist Zaltor, his presence a reminder of the mysteries that still lurked beneath the surface of this alien world. "My fellow settlers," Captain Silva began, her voice carrying over the murmurs of the crowd. "Our encounter with the alien creatures has opened up new possibilities for cooperation and mutual understanding. But we must remain vigilant. We cannot afford to let our guard down in the face of unknown threats." Lieutenant Asher Reynolds nodded in agreement, his gaze sweeping over the crowd. "We must also be mindful of potential dangers lurking within our own ranks," he added, his words a sobering reminder of the challenges they faced in this hostile environment. As the meeting progressed, reports began to surface of strange occurrences within the domed city. Malfunctions in vital systems, supplies disappearing without a trace, and unsettling rumors of shadowy figures lurking in the shadows. Chief Scientist Zaltor stepped forward, his expression grave. "I have been conducting research into Nova Terra's ecosystem," he explained, his voice tinged with concern. "And I believe there may be more to our situation than meets the eye." He went on to reveal his findings: a series of anomalies in the planet's electromagnetic field, fluctuations in local wildlife behavior, and unexplained energy readings emanating from deep within the planet's core. All signs pointed to the presence of a hidden threat, a threat that could jeopardize their very existence if left unchecked. Captain Silva's jaw tightened with determination as she listened to the chief scientist's report. "We cannot afford to ignore these warning signs," she declared, her voice ringing with authority. "We must investigate these anomalies and uncover the truth about Nova Terra's secrets." With that, the settlers sprang into action, mobilizing teams to conduct surveys and patrols both within and beyond the city limits. Every corner was scrutinized, every shadow searched for signs of the elusive threat that lurked in their midst. Days turned into weeks as the settlers worked tirelessly to uncover the truth about the hidden danger that loomed over their settlement. And as they delved deeper into Nova Terra's mysteries, they would soon discover that the greatest threats were not always the ones that lurked in the shadows, but the ones that lay hidden in plain sight. Alliance formed. In the wake of their discovery of the hidden threat lurking within Nova Terra, tensions among the settlers reached a fever pitch. Fear and uncertainty gripped the domed city, casting a shadow over their once hopeful aspirations for a new beginning. Captain Renata Silva knew that they could not face this threat alone. They needed allies, both among their own people and with the indigenous alien species who called Nova Terra home. With this goal in mind, she called for a council of leaders from within the settlement, as well as representatives from the alien community they had encountered during their scouting mission. As the leaders gathered in the central plaza, Captain Silva addressed them with a sense of urgency. "We stand on the brink of a crisis," she began, her voice ringing out with conviction. "But we cannot face it alone. We must unite our strengths and forge alliances if we are to overcome the challenges that lie ahead." Chief Scientist Zaltor stood beside her, his presence a testament to the potential for cooperation between humans and aliens. "Our encounter with the alien creatures has shown us that there is common ground to be found," he added, his words resonating with the crowd. "We must seize this opportunity to build bridges and work together for the greater good." The representatives from the alien community stepped forward, their demeanor cautious yet hopeful. Through gestures and simple words, they expressed their willingness to engage in dialogue and cooperation with the human settlers, offering their assistance in confronting the hidden threat that threatened them both. Slowly but surely, trust began to blossom between the two groups as they shared knowledge, resources, and mutual support in their quest for survival. Captain Silva and Chief Scientist Zaltor worked tirelessly to foster this newfound alliance, bridging the gap between human and alien with patience and diplomacy. In the days that followed, joint patrols were organized to monitor the perimeter of the settlement, while teams of scientists collaborated on research projects aimed at unraveling the mysteries of Nova Terra's ecosystem. As they worked side by side, barriers began to crumble, replaced by a sense of camaraderie and shared purpose that transcended species boundaries. And as the settlers looked towards the horizon, they saw not just the challenges that lay ahead, but also the possibilities for a brighter future, a future built on cooperation, understanding, and the indomitable spirit of humanity and its alien allies. Unveiling secrets. In the wake of the formation of the alliance between the human settlers and the indigenous alien species, a renewed sense of hope filled the domed city on Nova Terra. The once divided factions now worked together, united in their determination to confront the hidden threat that lurked beneath the planet's surface. Chief Scientist Zaltor, alongside a team of researchers, delved deeper into their investigation of Nova Terra's secrets. Ancient ruins scattered across the planet hinted at a rich history that had long been forgotten, and Zaltor was determined to uncover the truth buried within the planet's core. As the team sifted through the data gathered from their expeditions, they made a startling discovery: a series of encrypted transmissions emanating from a remote location deep within the planet's interior. These transmissions held the key to unlocking Nova Terra's secrets, but deciphering them would require time and expertise beyond their own. Chief Scientist Zaltor turned to Captain Renata Silva, his expression grave. "Captain, we have uncovered evidence of a hidden network beneath Nova Terra's surface," he explained, his voice tinged with urgency. "These transmissions may hold the answers we seek, but we will need to venture into the heart of the planet to access them." Captain Silva nodded, her determination unwavering. "Gather your team, Chief Scientist," she replied. "We will provide whatever support you need to uncover the truth about Novaterra's past." As the team prepared for their journey into the unknown, rumors spread throughout the settlement about the secrets that lay buried beneath the planet's surface. Some whispered of ancient civilizations and lost technologies, while others spoke of dark forces that had been awakened by their presence on Novaterra. But amidst the speculation and uncertainty, one thing remained clear. The settlers were prepared to face whatever challenges lay ahead, united in their quest for knowledge and understanding. With their supplies packed and their resolve steel, Chief Scientist Zaltor and his team set out towards the coordinates of the encrypted transmissions, guided by a sense of purpose that burned bright within their hearts. As they ventured deeper into the labyrinthine network of tunnels that crisscrossed Novaterra's subterranean landscape, they encountered obstacles at every turn: treacherous terrain, hostile wildlife, and the lingering echoes of a forgotten past. But they pressed on, driven by the promise of discovery and the hope that they might unlock the secrets that lay hidden within Novaterra's depths. And as they neared their destination, they could feel the weight of history pressing down upon them, a reminder of the significance of their journey and the pivotal role they played in shaping the future of their world. Facing the enemy. Deep within the labyrinthine network of tunnels beneath Novaterra's surface, Chief Scientist Zaltor and his team pressed forward, their progress hindered by the treacherous terrain and the ever-present sense of foreboding that hung in the air. As they ventured deeper into the heart of the planet, they encountered signs of ancient civilizations long since vanished, crumbling ruins adorned with strange symbols and mysterious artifacts that spoke of a bygone era. But amidst the ruins, they also discovered something far more sinister: a hidden chamber filled with ancient machinery and arcane technology unlike anything they had ever seen. And guarding this chamber with a fierce determination were the remnants of a long-forgotten civilization, an army of robotic guardians programmed to defend their secrets at any cost. Chief Scientist Zaltor and his team watched in awe as the robotic guardians sprang to life, their mechanical limbs whirring with deadly precision as they moved to intercept the intruders. "We must hold them off," Zaltor shouted above the din of battle, his voice echoing through the cavernous chamber. The settlers and their alien allies fought valiantly against the robotic horde, their weapons blazing as they struggled to overcome the ancient guardians and reach the heart of the chamber. But the machines seemed unstoppable, their numbers seemingly endless as they swarmed towards their prey with relentless determination. Just when all hope seemed lost, a voice echoed through the chaos, a voice that spoke not in the language of machines, but in the ancient tongue of the planet's original inhabitants. Chief Scientist Zaltor listened intently, his eyes widening in disbelief as he realized the truth. The robotic guardians were not mindless automatons, but sentient beings, bound to their duty by ancient oaths sworn to protect their creator's legacy. With this newfound understanding, Zaltor called out to the guardians, pleading for their assistance in their quest to uncover Novaterra's secrets. And to his surprise, the guardians responded, their hostility melting away as they recognized the sincerity of his words. Together, the settlers and the guardians worked to decipher the encrypted transmissions that had led them to this hidden chamber, unlocking the secrets of Novaterra's past and revealing the true nature of the threat that had loomed over them all. As the last echoes of battle faded away, Chief Scientist Zaltor turned to Captain Renata Silva, a sense of awe and wonder shining in his eyes. "We have faced the enemy and emerged victorious," he proclaimed, his voice filled with pride. "But our journey is far from over. There is still much we have yet to uncover about this world and the forces that shape its destiny." And with that, the settlers and their newfound allies prepared to continue their exploration of Nova Terra, united in their determination to forge a future that would be shaped not by fear or division, but by courage, cooperation, and the indomitable spirit of humanity and its alien allies. Betrayal and redemption. In the aftermath of their encounter with the ancient guardians beneath Nova Terra's surface, a fragile peace settled over the settlement. The settlers and their newfound allies worked side by side, united in their quest to uncover the planet's secrets and build a better future for all who called it home. But amidst the harmony, a shadow lurked, a shadow of betrayal that threatened to unravel everything they had worked so hard to achieve. Lieutenant Asher Reynolds paced restlessly in his quarters, his mind consumed by doubts and suspicions. He had noticed strange behavior among certain members of the settlement, furtive glances, whispered conversations, and a growing sense of unease that permeated the air. Unable to shake the feeling that something was amiss, Lieutenant Reynolds began to investigate, quietly probing for answers, while keeping his suspicions close to his chest. His efforts soon bore fruit when he stumbled upon evidence of a conspiracy, a plot to sabotage the settlement and undermine the fragile alliance between humans and aliens. Shocked and dismayed by what he had uncovered, Lieutenant Reynolds confronted the conspirators, his heart heavy with betrayal. Among them was one of his closest comrades, a trusted friend whose loyalty he had never questioned until now. "I trusted you," he whispered, his voice laced with disbelief. "How could you betray us like this?" The conspirators exchanged nervous glances, their faces a mask of guilt and shame. But despite their remorse, the damage had already been done. The seeds of discord had been sown, threatening to tear apart the fabric of their community from within. Captain Renata Silva listened in disbelief as Lieutenant Reynolds recounted his findings, her jaw clenched with anger. "We cannot allow this betrayal to go unpunished," she declared, her voice ringing out with authority. "We must root out the traitors and ensure that justice is served." With the support of his fellow settlers, Lieutenant Reynolds launched a campaign to identify and apprehend the conspirators, leading to tense confrontations and difficult choices as they sought to restore trust and unity among their ranks. In the end, the truth prevailed, and the traitors were brought to justice, their treachery exposed for all to see. But amidst the pain and heartache of their betrayal, there was also room for redemption, a chance for forgiveness and reconciliation as they worked together to rebuild what had been broken. As the settlement emerged from the shadow of betrayal, Captain Renata Silva addressed the gathered settlers, her voice filled with pride and determination. "We have faced our darkest hour and emerged stronger for it," she proclaimed. "Together, we will overcome any obstacle that stands in our way, united in our commitment to building a future that honors the sacrifices of those who came before us." And with that, the settlers renewed their resolve, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, with courage, resilience, and the unwavering spirit of humanity and its allies. Trials and triumphs, As the settlement on Nova Terra continued to grow and flourish, the settlers faced a series of trials that tested their resolve and resilience. But with each challenge they overcame, they emerged stronger and more united than before, their spirits buoyed by the promise of a brighter future. One such trial came in the form of a sudden and violent storm that swept across the planet, unleashing torrents of rain and ferocious winds that threatened to tear their fragile settlement apart. Captain Renata Silva sprang into action, coordinating the evacuation efforts and rallying the settlers to fortify their defenses against the onslaught of nature's fury. Together they worked tirelessly to reinforce their shelters, secure vital supplies, and provide shelter for those in need. As the storm raged on, the settlers huddled together for safety, their hearts pounding with fear and uncertainty. But amidst the chaos, there was also a sense of solidarity, a shared determination to weather the storm and emerge stronger on the other side. When the skies finally cleared and the winds died down, the settlers emerged from their shelters to survey the damage. Despite the destruction wrought by the storm, their resolve remained unbroken, their spirits undimmed by the trials they had faced. In the days that followed, the settlers banded together to rebuild their homes and their lives, turning the wreckage of the storm into an opportunity for growth and renewal. With each nail hammered, each brick laid, they forged a bond that was stronger than any storm could ever hope to break. But their trials were far from over. As they ventured further into the uncharted wilderness of Nova Terra, they encountered new challenges at every turn: hostile wildlife, treacherous terrain, and the ever-present threat of the unknown. Yet with each obstacle they overcame, they grew more confident in their abilities and more determined in their resolve. They were pioneers, explorers, and warriors, forging a new destiny for themselves and their descendants on this untamed world. And as they looked towards the horizon, they saw not just the trials that lay ahead, but also the triumphs that awaited them, the victories won through courage, perseverance, and the unbreakable spirit of humanity. Final showdown. The settlers on Nova Terra had faced many trials and triumphs, but their ultimate test lay ahead, a final showdown with the true enemy threatening their survival. Captain Renata Silva stood at the helm of the settlement, her eyes fixed on the horizon, where dark clouds loomed ominously. She knew that their time had come to confront the source of the turmoil that had plagued their world since their arrival. Gathering her most trusted allies, Captain Silva outlined her plan for the daring mission ahead. They would venture deep into the heart of Nova Terra, to the very source of the hidden threat that had eluded them for so long. As they prepared to depart, whispers of uncertainty rippled through the settlement. Some questioned the wisdom of the captain's plan, while others expressed fear of what they might encounter in the unknown depths of their world. But Captain Silva remained resolute, her belief unwavering in the face of adversity. She knew that their only chance for survival lay in confronting the enemy head-on, no matter the cost. With the settlers at her side, Captain Silva led the expedition into the uncharted wilderness of Nova Terra, their hearts pounding with anticipation as they ventured into the unknown. Along the way, they encountered remnants of Nova Terra's ancient past, crumbling ruins and mysterious artifacts that hinted at a connection between humanity and the planet's indigenous inhabitants. As they delved deeper, the mysteries surrounding Nova Terra's past began to unravel, revealing a tangled web of secrets and lies that stretched back through the ages. But there was no time to dwell on the past, for their true enemy awaited them, a malevolent force that had lurked in the shadows, manipulating events from behind the scenes. At last, they reached their destination, a vast underground chamber pulsating with energy, the epicenter of the hidden threat that had plagued Nova Terra for so long. With courage and determination, Captain Silva and her allies prepared to face their foe, steeling themselves for the final showdown that would determine the fate of their world. As the battle raged on, the settlers fought with everything they had, their weapons blazing as they clashed with the enemy forces. But victory did not come easily, for their adversary was powerful beyond measure, its dark influence spreading like a cancer through the heart of Nova Terra. In the end, it was Captain Silva's unwavering resolve that turned the tide of battle, her leadership inspiring her comrades to stand strong in the face of overwhelming odds. With one final, decisive blow, they struck down the enemy, banishing its darkness from Nova Terra once and for all. As the dust settled and the echoes of battle faded away, the settlers emerged victorious, their spirits lifted by the knowledge that they had triumphed against all odds. And as they looked towards the future, they knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, united in their determination to build a better world for themselves and future generations to come. Rebuilding hope. With the defeat of the ultimate threat that loomed over Nova Terra, a sense of relief washed over the settlers as they began the arduous task of rebuilding their lives in the aftermath of the conflict. Captain Renata Silva, Lieutenant Asher Reynolds, and Chief Scientist Zaltor stood together overlooking the settlement, their hearts heavy with the weight of the trials they had faced and the lives lost along the way. "We have come a long way," Captain Silva remarked, her voice tinged with a mixture of exhaustion and pride. "But our journey is far from over." Lieutenant Reynolds nodded in agreement, his gaze sweeping over the bustling activity of the settlers as they worked tirelessly to repair the damage wrought by the recent conflict. "It's amazing to see how far we've come," he mused, his thoughts drifting to the challenges they had overcome and the bonds they had forged in the face of adversity. Chief Scientist Zaltor offered a reassuring smile, his eyes shining with optimism. "Indeed," he replied, "but we must not forget the lessons we have learned along the way." As the settlers worked together to rebuild their homes and their lives, they also reached out to their newfound allies, the indigenous alien species who had played a crucial role in their victory. Through cooperation and mutual respect, the settlers and the aliens worked side by side, sharing knowledge, resources, and expertise in their shared quest for a better future. Together, they repaired the damage wrought by the conflict, laying the foundations for a new era of cooperation and understanding between their two peoples. As they worked, they reflected on the lessons they had learned, the importance of unity in the face of adversity, the power of forgiveness and reconciliation, and the resilience of the human spirit. And as they looked towards the horizon, they saw not just the challenges that lay ahead, but also the possibilities for a brighter future, a future built on hope, cooperation, and the indomitable spirit of humanity and its allies. With renewed determination, they set about rebuilding their world, confident in their ability to overcome whatever challenges the future might hold. And as they worked, They knew that no matter what trials they might face, they would face them together, united in their commitment to building a better world for themselves and future generations to come. A new beginning. As dawn broke over the horizon of Nova Terra, a sense of anticipation filled the air as the settlers and the indigenous alien natives came together to celebrate their newfound unity and resilience. Gathered in the central plaza of the settlement, they stood side by side, a testament to the power of cooperation and friendship in the face of adversity. Captain Renata Silva stood before the assembled crowd, her gaze sweeping over the faces of those gathered before her, humans and aliens alike, bound together by a common purpose and a shared determination to build a better future. "My friends," Captain Silva began, her voice ringing out with strength and conviction, "today marks a new beginning for us all, a chance to forge a future that honors the sacrifices of those who came before us and embraces the possibilities of what lies ahead." She spoke of the trials they had faced, the challenges overcome, the battles won, and the lessons learned along the way. But she also spoke of the hope that had sustained them through the darkest of times, the belief that together they could overcome any obstacle that stood in their way. As we stand here today, united in our resolve and our determination to thrive against all odds, let us never forget the indomitable spirit of humanity that courses through our veins, Captain Silva declared, her words echoing through the plaza. For it is that spirit that will guide us forward, lighting the way towards a brighter tomorrow for ourselves and future generations to come. As the crowd erupted into cheers and applause, Captain Silva raised her fist in a gesture of solidarity, her heart swelling with pride at the sight of humans and aliens standing together as equals, bound by a common vision of peace, prosperity, and mutual respect. And as the celebrations continued long into the night, the settlers and the alien natives danced and feasted, their laughter ringing out across the settlement, a joyous symphony of unity and hope that echoed through the ages, heralding the dawn of a new era for Nova Terra. For in that moment, they knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, hand in hand, as allies, friends, and fellow pioneers on the journey towards a better tomorrow. Epilogue. The sun rose over Nova Terra, casting its golden light upon a world transformed by unity and cooperation. In this future, humans and aliens coexisted peacefully, their settlement thriving amidst the beauty of the planet they now called home. Captain Renata Silva, Lieutenant Asher Reynolds, and Chief Scientist Zaltor stood atop a hill overlooking the settlement, their hearts filled with hope and optimism for the future of their world. "It's hard to believe how far we've come," Lieutenant Reynolds remarked, his voice filled with wonder as he surveyed the bustling activity below. Captain Silva nodded in agreement, her eyes shining with pride at the sight of humans and aliens working together as equals, united in their shared vision of a better tomorrow. "Our journey has been long and challenging," Chief Scientist Zaltor added, his voice tinged with nostalgia. "But it has also been filled with moments of triumph and discovery that have shaped the course of our history." As they looked towards the horizon, they saw not just the settlement they had built, but also the limitless potential of the world that lay beyond, a world where humans and aliens could coexist in harmony, each bringing their own unique strengths and perspectives to the table. And as they stood together, hand in hand, they knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, They would face them with courage, resilience, and the unwavering belief that together they could overcome anything. For they were pioneers, explorers, and visionaries, forging a new destiny for themselves and future generations to come on the vibrant world of Nova Terra. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting its warm glow upon the settlement below, Captain Silva, Lieutenant Reynolds, and Chief Scientist Zaltor turned towards the future, their hearts filled with hope and optimism for the world they had helped to create. And as they walked hand in hand into the sunset, they knew that the journey was far from over, but that together they would continue to write the story of Nova Terra, a story of courage, resilience, and the enduring spirit of humanity and its alien allies.